I want to talk about my nose. My nose is very similar to the Queen Nefertiti, where if you see on the side of her nose, it points out it's a regular, nose. It could be African, slightly African, but her nose is, it's kind of straight. But if you film it to the front side, you can see her front face here. It sort of flattens out, because she doesn't have defining nostrils. It's just flat, and my nose is the same exact way as that statue. It's very identical to the statue, to Nefertiti, the Queen Nefertiti of ancient Egypt. So when they film, like if they film my face, and if it's not far away, it will look like it flattens out like her image. The perpetrators knew this, so they decided to swell my nose, so they can skew it to look like an African nose. But my nose is not African looking. It's rounded at the tip. It's just like her nose, but it's not African as in, wide nostrils, which they try to skew. The perp has been skewing my nose, or trying to swell my nose, which I'll show pictures, the damages they've done, and the years that my nose was normal, and what it should look like. And I'll flash the images of before and after of the damages they call during this video. In these photos, it shows that on 2005, how my nose was skinny, and now it's straight. It looks on the left side, which is near the cheek. The left side is 2005, and the right side is 2022 January. It shows a bevel that's supposed to be straight down, but they beveled it with the energy weapon swelling, creating like a hardness of a swelling, and it doesn't go away. It's still hard. In this photo, the directed energy weapons, the perpetrator on the outer nostril side caused dents inwardly to try to expand the nostril. So when I take a photo, it looks like a wider nostril to change my Puerto Rican ancestry to other. You can see in the 2008 photo and the 2013 photo, the nostril hole, which is about the same distance more or less, the nostril holes don't look as wide. But in the 2022 photo, they're all of myself. I was a bit heavier on the left side in 2008. They show that the nostril holes look a bit wider when I take a photo. It affects the mucus in the nostrils. It collect mucus. If your nose is running, it collect mucus, and you can get a flu like that. So it could be like a double plot, so that people can get COVID-19 or get the flu and kill them with the satellite weapon. Here is a picture of me and my brother Seneca. I'm on the right and he's on the left side. He has a tattoo on his neck of I believe it's a VS. It's in, like, they call it Gothic, but it's some kind of calligraphy ink on his neck. He also has scars on his forehead from a car accident that killed my mother. His nose is a bit wider because he has a different father than myself, and my father is Jose Ramon Gonzalez, and his father is a different father. So we share the same mother. When these two politicals came into office that are down here, they started swallowing my nose, attacking my nose with energy weapons, trying to skew my identity. And you can see how skinny my nose was, and as compared to his. The difference between me and him is that he has tattoos on his body. I don't have any tattoos. Here's a series of pictures, me on the right and my brother on the left. My brother Seneca is on the left, and of course my name is Ramon on the right, Ramon Gonzalez. The perps might be using to skew the NYPD ID to my brother's face. They use a lot of narrow scopes, so they might be using my NYPD ID card Xerox that's washed out, where they don't have both of them together, the NYPD picture and the NYPD identification. So I put them together to show also my face, to show that the NYPD looks like my brother, the ID looks like my brother, but he was in and out of prison, and my face is skewed all the time, and the motive why they're swallowing my nose or they're denting my skull to make it look like him, because Seneca has a different father. My father's a New York lottery winner. This picture shows that I'm taller than my brother Seneca, who is the second person on the left, and I'm standing with my brothers and my nephew. My two brothers are, one is on the right, and then me, and then my nephew, and then Seneca, and then another nephew of mine. You can see over here that he's shorter than me. The perp started popping my neck after this picture was taken. That was the motive. 2013, I have a video that says neck popping. It was July 2013. Started popping my neck. So when I recorded my height being 5'8". So if I'm 5'8", my brother might be like 5'7" or 6". Here's a picture where my mother is on the right side and my father's new wife is on the left side. My father's new wife was born around 1965 or 1966. She's only about 6 years older than me. My mother is 16 years older than me because she had me when she was 16 in 1972. The perp like to use the parallels between my age and her. She only has 2 boy sons. My mother has 5 boys. They use my father's new wife's son. They pretend that I'm him, so they swell my nose to try to skew it to his nose, which is he has an African nose. He's from Dominican Republic. I never been there. The other one, guy in the type on the top, I don't know when he was born. They impersonate me with him. I'm gonna be 50 years old in April, and I don't even know when he was born. The other guy I talked to, he was born in 1982. So they use parallels that are similar, and they switch identities all the time. The male on the top moved to Puerto Rico. So when he moved to Puerto Rico, they started swelling my nose to skew it to him, and then also to his brother. But his brother lives in the States, the one on the bottom. The one on the top is Douglas, and the one on the bottom is, they call him Lisette. I don't know if I spelled his name right. I'm not sure, because I don't know how to spell his name. They both have, their last name is Antonio, which is my middle name. That's not my surname. They're Douglas Antonio and Lisette Antonio. That's not my last name. My last name is Gonzalez. The perps like to use these parallels, switch identities, and then I get hit. One on the top is he's very promiscuous. That's his own business. But the one on the bottom, he's married. He has a bunch of kids. The one on the top, I don't think he has any kids. I don't have any kids, so they like to use the older brother because I was heavier when I used to work for NYPD. So they like to skew his image to the NYPD, and which is like you could see the name on the plaque. It says my name Ramon on the plaque, but also on the ID it says Ramon. My last name is shown in big letters. That's how NYPD at the time, I don't know if they changed it, 2009 it's probably still like that, but maybe a different design. But it's clearly Gonzalez. Intended that I'm communicating of being another nationality when I never been to the country. I only been to Puerto Rico, Germany, and the United States. The perpetrator likes to use acronyms, all kinds of symbolisms and shapes and all that. He skews to Dominican flag. I never been to that country. I never been to the Dominican Republic ever, period. The perp likes to skew checkerboard, flannel shirts, 1982, hashtag D, $F4, the music that they listen to in that country. He freezes my computer, he hacks it, like when I'm scrolling a number for my artwork, he'll freeze it to 4, and then they'll attack me with the energy weapons. He skews my hard drive name, acronyms like crazy. The color green, because supposedly they like the fruit, banana fruit, like green bananas or whatever. They swell my nose. That's why I'm making this video, because I'm not Dominican at all. I'm just Puerto Rican. My mother was born in Brooklyn, New York. She's Puerto Rican descent. My mother's nationality is just Puerto Rican. Her last name comes from like they say Europe, or those islands, because some Puerto Ricans are from Europe. You know, in the 1800s they came to Puerto Rico, which is like, I think they're French. It's Italians that were in France and they came to Puerto Rico, like Corsica or something like that, throughout the history. But I don't know I really don't know its origin, its full origin. I can't say it's from Corsica, but it's definitely not from the other country that they're from. It's French, probably French, but it has Italian, origins. Corsica is a French country. My mother died in a car accident in 1990 with my aunt Linda Morsiglio. My mother Lisa Morsiglio died also when she was married at the time that she died to her husband Jesus Montalvo, who also died a few years back, about 10 years ago or more or less 10 years ago in Iraq. He was in the military. I'm going to show a picture of my mother in the military here. She was in the army from 1984 to about 1989, and then after she resigned, she died in a car accident. They went to Virginia to Busch Gardens, and then the car went off the cliff. It's a bit of mystery, but that's why it says Lisa M. Montalvo, because she was married to Jesus Montalvo, who also passed away. He was Puerto Rican male. On the right here is a picture of my mother in 1990. On the corner of the left side on the bottom it says 5/26/1990, It shows 2 days before she died, she took this picture. It shows the car pointing downward and her eyes closed, and she died along with my aunt. They both went off a cliff, like off the highway. It was some kind of cliff, and they fell, and they both died. They were in, my aunt was on the front passenger seat, and my mother was the driver. It's unknown if she was sleeping, but it clearly shows that something is communicating. That the car is pointed downward and she's sleeping. So it's possible that they plotted, or they were plotting to murder her. Unknown why. Of course, she died in Memorial Day, which is sort of like some kind of satanic thing to kill, which I heard that they kill people on holidays. It's like some kind of satanic ritual. Here's a picture of myself on the right, and Douglas is on the left. It clearly shows that I don't have any tattoos. It's a bit fuzzy, but I do not have any tattoos on my body. And over here you can see Douglas has tattoos on his forearm. The perp likes to skew my identity using like something similar, but he has tattoos on his forearm. So when they found it, that's one of the motives. As you can see, his nose is bigger here than mine. He's skewing like my tan skin color, because I get tan like Indian. We can turn as white as a white person, or I can get tan as like an Indian color. I can't get any darker. I put this record here, this record album here, because the perpetrator is messing with my middle name, which is Antonio, like this singer here. It says Marco Antonio Muniz. The perpetrator has problems with recognizing middle names. I think it's a white American. I believe it's a white American, and who's inciting sex trafficking in Puerto Rico, scouting, and also murdering Puerto Rican women. Murdering Puerto Rican men and women, and little kids also. It's a 13-year-old and a little boy that was related to me. They rammed some company owner's vehicle into a little boy relative of mine to steal the person's business, ice company business. They're murdering Puerto Ricans, that's a fact. It's a white male, American in the U.S. military, or using illegals or whatever they're using. Antonio is my middle name. The homeland just can't comprehend that Antonio is just a middle name. It's not my last name. My last name is Gonzalez.